Want to know where my passion for barrel up for baseball started? You want to know? It all started on a baseball field just like this, catching barrels at an early age. Welcome to Barrel Up Podcast. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Barrel Up Podcast. This is your host, John Carlos, and tonight is a very special night as I have New York's very own Josiah Gray, right-handed pitcher for the Washington Nationals in session tonight. It's going to be a great one. We're going to get to know Josiah Gray and his baseball journey, right-handed pitcher for the Washington Nationals in the majors. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Barrel Up Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, barrelup_baseball. Like this video, comment down below. Follow us on Anchor for the audio version of this podcast, ANCHOR, and on Spotify as Barrel Up Podcast. Baseball, oh baseball, I can't get enough. Josiah, it is one of the biggest days in my career, believe it or not. To get the opportunity to interview you. We're going to get to know you tonight, and I'm going to pass the ball on now. Here's everybody, Josiah Gray.
Hey, everyone listening. Josiah Gray here, currently pitcher with the Washington Nationals. I'm excited to talk about my story, how I started playing ball, my college years, professional baseball, major leagues now, things like that. But, excited to be on Barrel Up Podcast, just share my story to the listeners out there and kind of just give some insight into, my baseball journey.
Thank you for that, Josiah. And the first question we have tonight is, I want to know how this baseball journey started. You're in the majors now, but there's always a starting point, especially from New York, where it's a very tough place to make it out from. How did your baseball journey start?
Yeah, so just being a kid in the backyard, I just loved getting ground balls, hitting off the tee, things like that. And, I just couldn't get enough of it. So, as I joined T-ball and Little League and things like that, it's all I wanted to do. And then once travel baseball took off, then you're playing 3 times during 3 seasons of the year. And, I just couldn't get enough of it. And more or less here I am now.
It shows that the hard work was put in and it paid off. We do have a lot in common. I did start at an early age, 4 or 5, just like you. And I went to go on and play college ball at Dominican College. And I met your brother. Your brother is a very good friend of mine, Josiah Gray, one of the fastest individuals I've ever seen in my life, one of the most athletic individuals. And shout out to my boy, Josiah Gray. And shout out to you for being so humble and, giving me the opportunity today.
Absolutely. I think it's, important to be able to just share my story and kind of just give a picture into how things, worked out for me. Obviously, being a Division II player and things like that, it's not the typical Division I life or things like that. Growing up in New York, things weren't very much, like they are in Florida or Texas or any of those places. The story's different, but I'm living out my dream as a kid now, and that's something I always want to give back and touch upon, because it makes the next kid sort of realize that they can do that, with hard work and things like that.
Exactly. Josiah, you are currently a right-handed pitcher for the Washington Nationals. Were you always a pitcher? How did it start?
Yeah, so growing up, honestly, as most kids do, you kind of just play everywhere. But more times than not, I was playing shortstop. And then basically in high school, I involved into one of the team's aces my junior and senior year, but then got recruited to go to Lemoyne College as a shortstop. Yeah, I'd pitch occasionally, nothing crazy, not in a major role or anything like that. But, my junior year was basically the year everything took off for me. Eventually made the transition to just being a starting pitcher, and ended up getting drafted that year. And the rest is more or less history, getting drafted by the Reds and things like that. But yeah, I always pitched a little bit, but didn't pitched full time until 2018.
Perfect. Okay. So let's fast forward a little bit. You get scouted. Well, you go to Lemoyne College in Syracuse, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How was your journey there as a student athlete? Give us a little bit of insight of what it takes to be a college athlete and to get noticed, because out of everybody in the draft, to get noticed out of Lemoyne College. Lemoyne, by the way, is a powerhouse for baseball. I did my research and they're really good.
Pretty good.
How did you basically anticipate that this was something out of Lemoyne College? You're going about your student athlete life. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, honestly, going up there, I obviously had aspirations and dreams of playing professional baseball, but I knew my years were numbered. I didn't really think things would happen for me. I was an okay shortstop. I was an okay pitcher, but didn't really know how things would work out up there. And, just hit the weight room hard, started eating more. So, started putting on strength, started getting a lot stronger. And, as that happened, started hitting the ball further, started throwing the ball harder, kind of just like the natural progression of any athlete. And then things kind of just took off for me there. My head coach up at Lemoyne, Scott Cassidy, former big leaguer, he worked with me a lot, pitching, had a lot of infield coaches, things like that. But basically I went up there just knowing that I love to work. I love to, just get better at baseball, and had full intentions of trying to make it to the league or get drafted as a shortstop. And things sort of took a full 360 for me because pitching took off for me and brought me to that next level. But yeah, I kind of just went to Lemoyne with the mentality that I'm going to outwork the next guy, outwork, all 30 of my teammates, and for myself, and know that I want it more than the next guy. And here I am to more or less speak about that and kind of just give insight. But, my time at Lemoyne was awesome. Still in touch with a lot of my teammates, and those years definitely formed me and let me know, that I could be a pro, and here I am now.
Perfect. That is very good to hear and to note. So talking a little bit about when scouts start noticing you, how was that process? And what year of college were you getting noticed or started getting noticed by professional scouts?
So Lemoyne was unique. We had a scout day every fall. So my freshman year, obviously I'm not eligible for the draft or anything. I think I'm 17 at the time. So, not really on anyone's radar, but there's 10 or so scouts, just area guys, area people, just honestly reaching out and kind of just keeping tabs on the next guy and making sure that they have everyone's information, things like that. And that's kind of where it took off. Yes.
Right.
Kind of like things like that. So then having those scout days, kind of just kept the scouts' eyes on me, and each fall, things like that kind of just took off from there. But those scout days, obviously, had those scouts keep an eye on me and, just put me in a position where, I could be a potential pro.
Did you ever get nervous on scout day? How did you deal with that pressure mounting, knowing that a professional scout has your future in their hands, basically?
Yeah, there were definitely a lot of times where I got nervous. My sophomore year where, there were a lot more scouts looking at me just because I was coming off a good summer.
Yeah.
I actually slipped on the mound when I was throwing a practice pitch, so that could tell you how nervous I was. But yeah, you definitely feel it, and you definitely don't want to run away from it. But it's a good feeling because it makes you know that you're in a situation that's important. You want to go out there and perform. But those nerves, they're there for every moment. They've been there, for every major moment I've ever had. And they'll probably continue to be there, but, it's a part of the game. And I kind of look at it as it's a good thing because, you're about to do something daunting, something, important for yourself.
Yes.
And you want to do well, you want to perform. So, nerves are a part of it that no one is unaffected by.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Okay, let's fast forward to one of the most important days, if not the most important day of your life, draft day.
Mhm.
Walk me through that day. What happened? Who called you? Who was in the house? Walk me through draft day for you. I know it was the second round, which is very,
Yeah.
very elite, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And walk me through that. What happened?
Yeah, so draft day, you know, a regular, let me not say a regular day, but it was in the summer, getting ready for whatever was next. I knew some did, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Brewers, etc. But I just didn't know where I'd get selected. So I didn't know if it'd be the first day, didn't know if it'd be the second day, but I knew um, I was probably going to get selected one of those 3 days. And, I went into that night, they played the draft on MLB Network and didn't really hear much. My agent at the time um, was kind of just talking about, hey, here's what we're thinking, here's where we're looking. But, just stay by your phone. We'll be calling you once we hear something, once the team, wants to put an offer in more or less. So watched the whole draft. First round went by. The second round went by about the end of the second round. So there's a round that they call the compensation round. So I was picked in the compensation round, but um, my agent called me basically at the end of the second round saying, hey, the Cincinnati Reds want to select you. How does that feel? What do you think? Kind of just give us your thoughts. And I was completely shocked. So at the moment in time, I just said, man, give me a second. So I hung up. And, that's kind of one of the things they say to don't do, because a team obviously can just take the next guy on the board.
Yes.
But I kind of just acted the moment, said, hey, give me a second. So hung up, called him right back, said, hey, let's do it. And then the Reds picked me at 72nd overall and got to see my name on MLB Network, announced by Adam Dunn. They even had some highlights from my college days, which was awesome. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I heard from everybody that night, the scout that signed me, especially my coach, everyone. But yeah, that was a really special night. And being able to talk about it now, you kind of just you think about all the joy that night brought, and kind of like looking at it 3 years, 4 years now later, it's like, wow, like life happens fast. But yeah, draft night was awesome.
That's great. That's great. This is especially for all those young ballers. If you didn't know, you're gonna know now. Apart from the podcast, I do have my baseball player development company, and I talk to my guys. I tell them, listen, I play semi-pro. I played in a good program in Dominican College Division II. You never know. You got to put the work in, number one, but you never know how far you can take it as long as you just work hard and stay disciplined. There's always someone watching. Oh no, kids tell me we're from New York. We gotta go. We gotta go abroad. I'm like,
Yeah.
you don't have to. I know a lot of stories of players that work hard and put the city on. So God bless to you. That date came and went. So the day after, you're officially a professional. What changed in your mindset from going from Lemoyne to now being a Reds draft pick? Like, what you woke up next day? What happened?
Yeah, honestly, it didn't really hit me the next day. It was kind of just like, all right, what's next? But the way the draft basically worked was I couldn't officially sign after I took a physical out in Arizona. So I didn't fly out until the next week. So I went a full week, technically like a verbal agreement, like, hey, we're signing you as long as you, pass this physical. Kind of like college, they sign guys, make sure they're, still as good as they are, up to that NLI date. So, yeah, I kind of just had this verbal agreement. And then once I signed those forms out in Arizona about a week later, then it kind of hit me. And I was like, man, I'm a professional. I kind of just have to, carry myself a little bit differently, go like make sure I'm taking care of all my stuff because, there's not going to be people running around to ensure that I have everything I need. Obviously, I can ask questions and things like that, but, you're a professional. So you have to go in every day and know what you need to do. And no one's going to follow you around, basically. And then just learning that my first season, my first couple of weeks, it was different, but I think it pays off because a lot of guys, it might be their first time away from home, and it's your first time, getting played to play baseball, and people are thinking, oh, it's as awesome, like, but at the end of the day, it's still a job, it's still a business, and you can still get fired, you can still get released, things like that. And I think a lot of guys, let that fall on deaf ears and kind of just let the moment get too big for them, or they think everything's sweet or their spot is solidified, when it's not really like that. The organizations, it's a business, they want to rise to the top and things like that. But yeah, it was definitely a lot of moments throughout that first year that made me realize the company I'm in, the business I'm in, and kind of just how to handle myself and make the most of the opportunity.
Yeah. So, wow, that's great. Your first year as a pro, what would you say before we start getting into that? What would you say would be the difference? Obviously, you're getting paid to play from college ball at a very high level to the pros. What was the difference there? Obviously, the level of baseball.
Yeah, that's honestly the biggest thing I would say. The level of baseball, just takes off. You go from, being probably the best guy at your school or your high school to being just a guy in an organization that, is in a lower level of the minor leagues. They want to see if you have something to get through that level so they can promote you and so on and so forth. But everyone else has been the best player on their team, the best player at their high school. So it's very interesting just to kind of see how guys handle that and guys deal with it, because I know for me personally, what helped me was just basically my background, going to Lemoyne, going to being a New York guy, being from New Rochelle High School, very unheralded background. I kind of just wanted to go there and go to work. I didn't.
You had something to prove.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to go in and feel like, my shit didn't stink. And I was just, the guy that, that was just the guy that thought nothing was wrong with him. No, I wanted to just work and kept my head down. And that's kind of how I went about my business. And, that first season, there are definitely moments in time where I feel like people try to paint a picture of a guy just because, they're a high round draft pick in my case. But I just said, hey, I'm here to work more times than not. And it worked out for me a lot of the time because, there'd be guys that would pick higher than me in previous years, just falling by the wayside, thinking that, their job is just so solidified and they're never going to, get released or things like that. And, that's kind of what fueled my fire at that time and what continues to fuel my fire, because I know my background. I know if I was to follow the, path of a Division II baseball player that went to Lemoyne from New Rochelle High School, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I never take it for granted. And I go out there every day and just try to work as hard as, if not harder than the next guy.
Hey, one thing I can say to put that all in 2 words: work ethic. Your work ethic is what's gotten you here. Great.
Absolutely.
Great. So what was the first level of pro ball that they put you in?
So my first level was rookie advanced ball. It was in Greenville, Tennessee, which is Eastern Tennessee. They put a lot of guys there from recent draft classes that haven't been able to make it out of rookie ball, higher round draft picks in general. But it was rookie ball in Greenville, Tennessee.
Nice. Okay. So you go from rookie ball with the Reds. When did the trade happen to the Dodgers? When did that occur?
So that happened that offseason. So 2018 offseason, December 21st. It was actually my 21st birthday as well. Yeah, just got a random call. Just got a random call from a random number. And I just had an inclination to pick it up. And, it was someone with the Reds just basically alerting me that I got traded. Thank God I answered the phone call because I would have seen it on MLB Network soon enough. But yeah, they were just letting me know. And that day was even more of a whirlwind than the draft, I would say, just because of my birthday. And, that trade was, the talk of that offseason.
Yeah. Did you feel discouraged? Did you feel any negative impact when you say, "Damn, you got traded," or was it like, "Okay, let's go back to work"?
Yeah, I kind of did feel discouraged just because, I definitely saw something in the future with the Reds. But at the point in time, as I talked about before, it is a business. So, if a team, wants to improve their team and they have certain minor league guys that other teams like, you're potentially going to get shipped out. And that's kind of how it worked out for me. But I wasn't upset about it, I would say. I was just ready to go to work. I was ready to
work.
learn, ready to be a part of the Dodgers organization. I know they do great things. And, that was whirlwind of a day, but I just took it as it's part of the business, and I'm going to go out there and like I said, work hard, work harder than the next guy, and just continue to prove that I'm there for a reason and go out there and make things work.
I want this to be a lesson to all the guys, all the young ballers that want to make this their dream one day. You can do it. It's just about work ethic and working harder than the next guy. So your ascension through the minor leagues was very fast. You really only played 3.5 years of minor league ball, and now we're going to go to the grandiest moment. I think this is the best of the best. We're going to go to July 20th, 2021.
Yep.
Los Angeles Dodgers. Josiah Gray makes his major league debut. Talk to me about that day. What major leaguer put his arm around you? You see Clayton Kershaw, because I must mention that name.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, my man.
Oh man. Yeah, the day was the whirlwind. The days leading up to that were even crazier. But yeah, that day, I luckily slept a little bit, and I went to the ballpark knowing that I'd be pitching at some point, but they didn't know if I would be starting or if I'd be coming in after a reliever, an opener. But they knew I was going to pitch. So I just prepared as if I was starting, and, I would adjust accordingly. So I got to the ballpark. Obviously had jitters that any person would have.
Of course.
I just go through my routine. I feel good. I feel like I'm in a good spot.
But you're in a stadium with like 40,000 fans. Pre-game, you're seeing all these fans. It's not the same as minor leagues.
It's never. It wasn't the same. No, it was. A lot of people rooting for you. But yeah, pregame, the pitchers go out there to throw, and I was doing my throwing and stuff, and felt good. And fans were like, "Go get them tonight," things like that. So that definitely helped me out a little bit. And then basically after that, I went back into the clubhouse. Got changed. Got a bite to eat, but I just wanted it to be as business as usual as it could be. So tried not to let the jitters throw me off too much. Basically, when game time rolled around, I went out to the bullpen. Just sat there for an inning and a half, and I was like, man, I'm in the major leagues. So once I got the call, hey, started getting hot. I felt like the ball was coming out great. And, we made the last out, and the door opened, and I kind of blacked out. I honestly, thinking about the moment, you run out, and it's Dodger Stadium, all places. I think there was 50,000 there that night too.
Jesus
against
Christ.
The Giants. Yeah, against the
Giants, the rivals.
Yeah, so it was like, man, there's not many more important games out there than this one. and I just felt like a rush once I got like to the infield dirt, and man, that was a lot of fun just thinking about it now. And I ended up throwing 4 innings. I don't really remember the line that well. I know I had a fair share of strikeouts, um, but yeah, that was a lot of fun and got a lot of hand pats, congratulations, from guys like Kershaw, David Price, um, Corey Seager, Mookie Betts, obviously, guys
Jesus
like
Christ.
that. Yeah, star-studded clubhouse to say the least. But yeah, that day was probably, uh, the most exciting day in my life to this point.
God bless, man. God bless. Um, who would you say gave you the best advice, major leaguer wise? You're in a room full of stars, like you said, Clayton Kershaw, Justin Turner, Corey Seager, David Price, Mookie Betts, Max Muncy.
Yeah, the
I
list
can
goes
name
on.
Cody Bellinger. Like, who gave you the best advice in order to add to your repertoire, to your game, to stay
Mhm.
there? Because you're a prominent name now.
Yeah. Honestly, I got a lot of tips throughout those days that I was there, but I would say David Price kind of just said, go out there and do it, man. Like, you have the stuff. It's not a question of that. It's just go out there and do it. Like, you've been knocking on the door the last year and a half. We all know what you can do. So just go out there and perform and give it your all. We're not going to, shun you after one outing. So I really appreciated that. But then also like a young guy like Alex Vesia, he's a lefty out of the bullpen. Um, we became closer throughout the year because we spent some time in AAA together and spring training as well. And we just talked. He was like, "Hey man, like I understand what you're feeling right now, and you don't want to let it take you over, but just continue to put the work in, trust your stuff. You're gonna go out there and do great." And simple stuff is like that, from guys that are similar in age goes a long way as well. And those, tips I ran out there with and definitely propelled me to some success that day.
Amen. 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 So this what I'm about to say goes to show how mental tough you are, because not only did you make it to the majors, you're there, you're performing, but once again you get traded. You get traded now to the Washington Nationals. What
Yep.
happened through Josiah's mind there? Another trade. Here we go.
Oh man, yeah, this one was a little different just because of the caliber of talent, and then the time, because it was the trade deadline and things like that. But I understood it. The Dodgers obviously in win now mode. The Nationals rebuilding a little bit. The pieces just fit well, and to get traded for names like Max Scherzer and Trey Turner, it doesn't get much better than that. Scherzer being a Cy Young finalist and Trey Turner, being a Silver Slugger finalist. It doesn't get much better than that. So the time being, I was definitely sad because just of the relationships I built and the people, I probably may never see again. People that you just naturally lose touch with. That's just a part of growing apart. So that kind of hit me. I just was upset about that. But then, giving it a day or two to think about it, you kind of understand the opportunity you're walking into with Washington. You're going to get ample opportunity to start to finish the year, and then you go into spring training next year, with a good opportunity to start again. Crack a rotation and lead a resurgence for that ball club. So that's the way I look at it now. It's not a bad thing. It's always good to get traded and create more opportunity for yourself, and that's what that trade is. Give me the opportunity for, and that's all I can be grateful for. And it's been a great time over there so far, but yeah, it's
Work's
definitely
not
not
done.
tough.
Job's not finished.
Yeah, job's not finished. It definitely isn't. It's definitely not easy to get traded twice, but each opportunity has presented itself with more opportunity on the other side. So that's all you can ask for.
What would you, now to finalize the interview and all that, last couple questions, what would you tell Josiah Gray at 23 that you would tell at age 19, 20? What would you tell that kid? Keep going. What would you tell him?
Yeah, honestly, keep going. 19, 20, my junior year, heading into pro ball. Just keep going, just continue to work, continue to listen to your teammates, continue to, refine pitches. Because I believe at that time, ages 19, 20, I was done hitting. So continuing to refine pitches, things like that, simple things, not get too caught up on it. But yeah, just continue to work, keep the same work ethic, and things are going to work out. At 23, you'll be a big leaguer. That's, who will, I don't know many people that would turn that down.
God bless, man. God bless. So you're going into your second season. You didn't play the whole year, but you played a good amount of games. You're ready to start in the majors again, 162. What did you learn from last year that you're ready to implement this year? And what is something that you're working on in the off season, getting prepared for the spring training?
Yeah, honestly, I had 2 months and 2 weeks in the big leagues last year or this year, and I learned a lot. I had my fair share of success early, more or less, probably because the hitters didn't have too much information on me. Then I ran into a rough patch in the middle, and then I finished off the year strong. So honestly, just going out there with confidence in my stuff, knowing I can get big leaguers out, it's like we talked about earlier in the interview. It's not a question of stuff. It's just a question of just execution, command, conviction, things like that. So just hitting those points on the nail every time I go out there to pitch is probably of the utmost importance. And then, stuff-wise. But yeah, just going out there with supreme confidence. Every pitcher talks about it, in watching the Cy Young Awards today. Corbin Burns, 2018, 2019 wasn't great for him. And it's pretty out there. He talked about his, struggles with the game and things like that. And he just went out there with confidence, 2020, 2021 Cy Young Award winner. So yeah, those are some of the things I'm going to implement. In this current offseason, I'm just refining my pitches, fastball, both of my breaking balls, my changeup, just feeling good, feeling like, I'm ready to throw 150 plus innings next year on a team that I think will be really good. And, we'll surprise some people. We got Juan Soto, and, it doesn't, he's a baller, and I think we're going to surprise some people. But basically my goal is just go out there, make every fifth start, be an option for the team, go out there, be a dependable arm as well early in my career, and, kind of just put it all out there on the line every fifth day, and good things will happen.
Wish you nothing but the best of luck. And please say hello to Juan Soto for me, as I am a big fan.
I will.
Man, I want to thank you for this humble time that you've given me. You are a superstar in the making. Absolutely. Everybody knows what you did in the minors. Now it's time to apply it in the majors. I have no doubts or the questions that you can do so.
Absolutely.
I look forward to seeing you in one of those games, maybe when you come down to New York, or I'll even go to Washington, little road trip.
Sounds good.
Nothing but blessings to you, my man. Thank you so much. I wish you nothing but the best. I'll be watching you, and I'll be talking about you throughout the podcast. Say hello to your brother for me, and barrel up all the way, man. Thank you so much, man. There's a little bit of lag here, but we'll get him back.
I will. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, my man. God bless, okay?
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Barrel Up Podcast. Josiah Gray, the man himself. Thank you, Josiah.
Thank you.
You want to know where my passion for Barrel Up, for baseball started? You want to know? It all started on a baseball field just like this, catching barrels at an early age. Welcome to Barrel Up Podcast.